Good evening. This is Pine Leaf Needles, and welcome to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Reporters. Tonight we have our usual cast with us: Andang,
Hey, everybody.
Mystery,
Hey there.
Brax,
Hello, everyone.
Ethelros,
Hello.
and we have a special guest tonight, Leonore from LOTRO Reporter.
Hello, minions.
And
I don't
he
know
wears
where I am.
pants
This
for
place
us.
is crazy. You guys got really nice wallpaper and stuff here.
That's right. And he wears pants for us. It's great.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
we
don't
stocked
know.
up
I
on
don't
those
know.
before he arrived.
Very well. This week we have a great deal of news to work through because Turbine has announced the launch date for Helm's Deep, which will
And I
be...
totally called this, just saying. Totally called the
You
launch
said
date.
December, didn't you?
No, I was one of the people
No.
that said right around Moria. And
Okay.
so I was pretty close. Just 3 days off or so.
Yeah, he said November 15th, and of course I told him it could not be a Friday, so he said, oh, right, a few days.
I said a few days later, and so I was correct.
It must have been the Jello.
Very well. Helm's Deep is being launched on November 18th. There was a full announcement on that. Plus, of course, there was the announcement of the pre-orders, which are now in effect.
Speaking of announcing pre-orders, I think Schurz has something to say.
Yes, on the subject of release dates and pre-order dates, I actually entered into a bet with Andang on exactly because on the Thursday when they were announcing it, it was the day before they had an issue with the website where they were showing a link to the Helm's Deep pre-orders, but it wasn't going anywhere yet, and pretty much all the signs were pointing to it happening the next day. So we bet.
Yeah, sure thing, whatever, haha.
Yeah, it was. In the end, we bet 50 in-game gold on
Well, first
Freakside.
of all, I think you approached me with the $20 bet, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
well, let's make it a little bit more interesting. Let's make it 40. And then a little bit later, he comes back and he's like, you know what would be great? A nice round number. Let's do 50 gold. That sounds like a really nice number. And I agreed, and so I made it to -2 gold. So, yay!
Never go to,
And that's across all my characters. So now I have a net total of -2 after I pay him. So.
Congratulations, Ethelros.
Yep, I'm very pleased. Just never go to a casino because I don't think you'll do well there.
So, Atheros, is now the time to hitch up for a loan for the Fellowship Walk stuff?
There you go.
Yeah. Be happy to donate the winnings.
So the Fellowship Walk is now 50 gold, Richie. Yay!
Very well. Now that we have the launch date and pre-purchase available, there will be 2 editions, a base edition and a premium edition. There will not be a legendary edition this year.
Instead, it's a legendary upgrade.
Well, yeah, we'll get into
Totally
that in a moment. The base edition is $39 or whatever that converts to in your local currency, since they have different prices for different parts of the world, obviously. And the premium edition will be $60.
Or
And that's
42
US.
yen.
It won't be 42 yen. It might be,
How many pesos?
42,000.
yeah, 42,000 maybe.
800 pesos.
Very nice.
It'll be in various forms of currency.
10 million Bounders tokens.
Oh.
Arkenstone will never get there.
Yes. Now, what do you get with this? I'm going to go through this in that, first off, you, of course, get titles, since you always get one of those whenever you do a
Do
pre-order.
anything.
Yeah, I know. You sneeze, you get a title. And
Is
the
that
title,
actually a title?
I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, there has to be a sneeze title in there somewhere. The Enforcer of Helm is the one that you get with the base edition, and Avenger of Helm you get with the premium edition. Actually, it was, with premium you get both of them, of course, not just the Avenger of Helm. You get both Enforcer and Avenger. I don't know if any of you are using that one. I have just decided I prefer Skirmisher Middle Earth.
I
So,
usually use my titles about 3 years later when there's a lot of players that don't have it anymore, or aren't able to have it because they weren't part of the game at that point. That's usually when I bust out the title.
I
all
love to
right.
throw out a Slug Squasher a lot.
All right. You also get turbine points, 1,000 for the base edition, 2,000 for the premium.
Same as with Rise of Rohan, I think.
Only this time it's not a correction.
Yeah.
Third thing is that with the base edition you get a Hulberg, which is pretty typical, and with the premium edition you get a full armor set.
Cosmetic, yeah.
Yeah, cosmetic, of course. And this is Pine Leaf wearing the... I'm just wearing the Halberd and the gloves in this picture.
Yep.
All right, that might be a bit easier to see.
And don't
Right.
you look dashing.
All right,
If anyone
then
tries to shoot you in the back, you'll be ready.
I'll be ready.
Especially on that Hobbit size, yeah. There's
Yeah.
nothing getting through there.
How many shields do you have anyway?
All right.
Well, you don't even
yes.
see his inventory. There's like 50 there.
It's like the opposite of Gimli. Gimli has like 20 axes on him, and it's like so many
Warden-
shields.
Or Pine Leaf has like 80 spears, and he's got it covered.
Right. In addition, for the premium edition only, you get plus 10 quest log slots, which for a couple of my characters may actually come in handy.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is going to come in handy, if this is just meant for like early players that need more quests, or if it's going to be, if they're going to try a different quest style with Rohan, different from what they have been doing. I doubt it. I doubt we're going to need that many with Rohan, but you never know.
To be honest, I've never actually hit the maximum quest slots except for when I was in the Ettenmoors on Creepside.
Yes. Mhm.
I have
And
several times.
guess who doesn't get it?
I have several times on Evendim and old Evendim. I don't know about now. Right around that area up until Angmar, you have a lot of quests if you're actually going through all the zones there.
Yeah, I've on a couple of characters have been, let's say, a little bit sloppy in having things in my quest log and have been known to exceed the quest log on occasions. And then desperately finding something to remove in order to take care of it. So if you play like that, then you will find it handy. If you keep a nice, neat quest log, it's completely useless. And speaking of useless, the next item is a Crystal Remembrance, and I know some people will probably really like these things, but let's just say all my characters already have one of these in their vault from the Rohan pre-order, so now I've got 2 of them sitting in my vault.
I mean,
Yeah, I think the marketing department at Turbine makes up a large percentage of the people that like crystals.
I mean, yeah, I think if you can get it in game, it's really not that good for a pre-order.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Because-
think that it was so popular from the last pre-order. They're like, oh, let's do it again, but
Yeah,
Yes.
everyone was really talking in a good way about those. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Now, there are 2 additional things that you get only if you pre-order. If you pre-order the base edition, Then you get a token of Hornburg, which is essentially the same thing as last year's token. It's a pocket item that gives you plus 25% experience. For the premium, though, instead of the token of Hornburg, you get the Shield of Hammerhand. And the Shield of Hammerhand is actually a back item, not a shield. And what it does is it has scaling stats that scales with your level. Now, they're not going to beat the best item at the level, but I rarely have the best item for the level, so very often it's better than what I would be having otherwise. In fact, one of my Cap characters found it as an upgrade.
Yeah, I really like the idea of the shield. Actually having an XP boost that finally has stats to it is a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Right.
hats off to Turbine for creating that. That was one really good thing to come from this, as opposed to some of the other things.
Right, and that's the other thing about this. It does have an XP boost, and it not only has an XP boost for monster kills, but for any source of experience. In addition, it also provides a bonus to your legendary item experience and to your mounted combat experience. So therefore, it is a full experience booster, 25%, only up to level 85, of course, as usual in these things.
So it is capped then.
The
If
stats
you
aren't,
notice-
though. The
Yeah, the
stats still
stats are
update.
not. Right. The stats don't. It's that the shield, you can still equip the shield and use it for the stats once you get past 85.
Well, I guess technically no one's been able to test it, so we don't know for sure.
Oh, okay. You got a point there. No one's tested
Um,
it. You got a point there. But that seems to be what it implies on the.
Yeah,
on the
I would be
tooltip.
surprised if it's other than that.
And I'm wearing it on one of my level 85, so I know you can still wear it at 85. While I know
That's
that
true.
last year, if you had the pocket item, it would be unequipped when you hit that cap level.
Yeah.
And a token and a shield will stack, meaning, for example, my characters that have a level 75 token in their pocket and the shield at the same time are getting a plus 50% bonus. Well, of course, 50% bonus to the monster kills, since the quest XP does not get helped by the token.
Mm-hmm.
And those are... Oh, yeah, that's right. And, of course, you have the usual steed. You
Right.
can't forget the steed, which is...
Real quick though, back on the shield, I'm really glad that they added in the stack ability, because that makes it an even better item. It's like it wasn't good enough for them to just do those things. They wanted to make it even better. So
Yeah.
I really do like the shield. It was a good plan.
It's Godzilla.
Now, what... Yes.
Who
Now,
cares?
what...
I
Now,
want
one
to know
more thing...
about the horse.
Right, okay. Just one thing to note about the shield, and that is that it is not currently being blanked out by the turtle stone. So therefore, if you have the turtle stone on, you'll be getting 25% XP on everything.
Okay, that's good.
That could be
So
preferable
it'll-
to some.
Yeah, so therefore it'll slow down your XP gain, but it won't stop it altogether.
Right.
Now, they may change that in the next update. We'll see when 11.4 comes out. But now you see me. Here I am on the steed, which is the steed that you get. If you order the base edition, you get just the travel mount. If you order the premium edition, you get both the travel mount, of course, and the War Steed cosmetics.
You look much taller now.
All right.
From that
yes.
angle, the shield looks like it might actually fit you.
But anyway, this is Pine Leaf on the War Steed, and I'm in Wildermore there.
I think this steed's one of the better ones they've brought out as far as looking at it and liking it
Yeah.
goes.
I think if you're a heavy armor character, which they've done kind of heavy armor stuff the last two, or the last expansion and this one now, um, that heavy armor blows out of the water the last one even, and I thought that one looked really good. So
Yeah.
I'm really liking the cosmetics with this expansion.
Yeah. Well, the Rohirrim are noted for heavy cavalry.
Yep.
Now, there are also, when you check out, there are 3 special offers. One of them is the Legendary Item Package, which is $40, which gets you all sorts of goodies related to legendary items for each of your characters. And if you're into having the best legendary item and you tend to spend your turbine points on legendary items, it might be a good deal for you. For me, who doesn't spend turbine points on legendary items, I didn't bother. Now, U.S. customers will also get, if they get this, a ticket to the next Hobbit film.
And what does everyone else get for their money?
Just the legendary items.
A pat on the back.
You get to talk
The
to your
Hardy
U.S. friends about the movie that they went to go see.
So we have to pay $40 and actually get less than someone living in the US.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm surprised they even offered it outside the country. When you told me about that, Mist, I was shocked that that was available there. I
Yeah.
think that's a huge mistake by Turbine, to be quite honest.
Well, they had already set the package when they found out that no other country would allow them to do the offer.
Well, you're right, but you'd think they could do some simple custom coding and make it not be available in other countries.
Yeah.
Whatever, that is what their decision was. Now, the second package they have is 5,000 turbine points at 30% off, in case you wanted to get tons of turbine points on top of the 1,000 or 2,000 you got for the pre-order. And finally, the quad pack at half price for $19 instead of $39.
Which is a really nice deal. One thing to note is that you have to log in to buy anything, and so that will be applied directly to your account. So be careful when you're going through. Make sure that you don't have all that stuff already.
Right.
Yeah. It's unfortunate since it means you can't gift the item to anyone.
And if I paid $40 for the legendary item, I want all those turbine points just given to me for free.
Especially if you're out of the country, yeah. But even in country, I'm not sure that the legendary edition is worthwhile, to be honest.
It is if you spend a lot of turbine points that you spent money for, and because Golden Star did a calculation of how much it would cost to buy the turbine points to get all those items, and if you normally use all those items, it's worth it for if you have 2 characters that do it, or if you're in the U.S., if 1 character does it.
Now, do we know if the tickets are in 3D or standard? Because that could make a big difference on price as well.
Well, I think if
I
you
don't
read
think they specified.
if you read the frequently asked questions, it says that if you go to a theater where the price is above a certain dollar amount that's on the certificate, you have to pay the difference. So you could probably see the 3D version if you want to.
You just have to pay for it.
Yeah, no, it's $13 is the price on there, which means that if you go to the matinee, you could probably see the 3D edition. If you go to an evening show, it's probably going to be the 2D because
Yeah.
because of the way the prices work.
Maybe even 1D.
So, with the actual legendary item stuff you get for it, I'm guessing you only get them once per character.
Yeah, once per character.
Well, since with the way the legendary item system works in that you basically have to go through the same thing every time the level cap goes up, wouldn't it be basically pointless in the long run?
Well, it's essentially saying that you may get it to upgrade the legendary items on all your characters to go from the Rohan level to the Helm's Deep level. That's pretty much what it would be good for.
Yeah, it doesn't sound worth it to me.
As I said, if you spend a lot of money on such things, then it might be. But if you're like me, no.
But if the legendary version was really good, I like the idea of allowing it to be applied to either one. Because if they had
Yeah.
really, really good items in the legendary version in like a later pre-order thing or something like that, that could be a really cool idea, I have to say.
All right. Now let's go around the table and ask everyone which of the editions, if any, they either have bought or plan to bought. And obviously from my pictures, you could tell that I purchased the premium edition. So, Andang, what about you?
Yeah, I got the premium edition as well. Me and Strider agree to buy each other the top version regardless each year. So that's what happened there.
Very well. Mist?
I will get the premium edition. I just have to save up the money.
Yes, of course. Brax?
So I'm going to win it in the lottery.
Oh,
That sounds confident.
oh yes, that's right. There is a lottery this weekend. We'll probably finish just before we are going on to the posting of this.
Right,
So-
and then it does post on YouTube right after we're done live every Saturday evening, just for everyone to know.
All right, so-
sorry, I was going to go ahead with my serious answer.
All right.
So every other year I've gotten the base edition, and it's been fine for me because I've always asked myself, in 6 months, am I really going to care about this other stuff that comes with the enhanced editions? And but this year I'm in a different situation because I let my VIP expire, and I really think that the $60 for the 2,000 turbine points and the XP boost, because I'm not getting the rest XP anymore, $60 for as much time as I spend in this game per year is a pretty good price, and I think I'm going to
Yeah.
go for the premium.
Okay then. Sure.
Well, originally when they first announced it, I had considered going for the basic edition since the fluff never really was something I was interested in, and the turbine points are just better off going for the basic. But because of something that came along, that turned out information that turned out after this initial announcement, which we'll probably go into later, I will not be buying either edition or the legendary upgrade or anything like that.
All right. And Leonor?
I usually buy the Legendary Edition, but this time around I'm not going to. Well, not for the movie at least. The second pack, the $60 pack, I won't be going for that. The shield is the most useful thing in there for me. It's a very cool item, but I only play one character, so that shield's going to be good for 10 levels, and that's about it, if it works for those 10 levels.
We probably
It's a great
won't-
cosmetic,
Yeah.
especially for a warden. But no, I'm going to be going with the base on this one.
Okay.
Very well. And our next item then has to do with the various pages that they have on the site, where they have this big page explaining everything about Helm's Deep, and of course dividing it into the various items that they have. So they have a class previews talking about the epic story, epic battles, which is what they are now calling what was called big battles when they first announced it, Western Rohan, and they even added a teaser there.
Yep.
And there are separate pages for each of those, and you could get some information about each of them in details. Yes?
Let's go ahead and go into each one a little bit.
All right.
So with the class previews, I was really surprised by that they were even showing them, because I knew that the dev diaries were going on. And so that was kind of nice just to give a lot of information about the class changes, because honestly, if you're pre-ordering, you're not going to necessarily, you might not want to pre-order until you find out what they're doing to your class. And so it's good. It was a good idea to go ahead and release some basic information about each one.
There was almost as much information on that page as there was in the dev diaries that we'd seen so far.
Until
Especially the Berg.
The champion had a lot.
Yeah, until the champ.
Because I asked for it, remember? And then the epic story, one thing that was interesting was that Helm's Deep is the last book. So that kind of begs the question of if we'll be seeing anything beyond in this expansion. I'm guessing no. I'm guessing it's, it really is going to end at Helm's Deep this time around.
You mean this will be the end of Volume 3?
Well, in the trailer, which we'll go ahead and skip ahead to for a second, they did mention that this will conclude the Rohan story.
The Rohan part of the epic then.
Yeah, we don't know
Right.
whether that also ends Volume 3, though. My guess is that it will, because I think that Volume 4 is going to be all about Gondor.
Right, but
And
they still have to finish off Isengard, so it would have to be at least in an update later if they're going to do that, I would think.
all right, yeah, there's a possibility that they will have to clean up the mess at Isengard during the midterm update, and then start Volume 4 for the. The question is exactly what they'll probably have.
I'm
two
guessing with
updates.
the update that'll happen at the end of this year, they'll have the next part of the story, and then the normal zone update that happens in the beginning part of next year will be like a going towards Gondor kind of thing.
Well, I suspect.
I hope so,
that-
because they started Volume 3 at the end of Mirkwood.
Yep.
So it's been a long time we've been going through Volume 3. We've been
Yeah, but I
through
mean,
so
Volume
many
1
different
was
places.
15 chapters, and we're only making it up to, like, what, 12 or something like that? 13, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Somewhere there.
Yeah. Now, actually, what I'm thinking that will happen is that update 13, I suspect, is going to be early next year, and that's going to have the next book. I don't think it's going to be at the end of the year, simply because I cannot see another book edition in December after a November release for Helm's Deep.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
I think the December update is going to include basically just your housing updates and little else.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think I'd agree with that.
But
Then-
now,
Go ahead,
concerning the epic story update, therefore my prediction then is that yes, they will finish up Isengard for update 13, then update 14 or 15 then would include the new zone and probably start us into book 14. In volume 4, not book 14, volume 4. But the most important thing about the announcement, though, has to be that the epic story here is, because it's tied in with the epic battle system, since it's tied very close to the epic battle systems, they are not going to make it free as the previous entries into the epic story are.
Let's go ahead before anybody says anything. Let's go around one by one, asking what everyone's thoughts are on this. So let's start with Braxwolf.
Yeah. Wow. This was kind of the big news of the week, wasn't it? I think I went through all the stages of grief when I heard this. So I think I'm okay with it now. I've come through it. I've thought through it, and it's obviously Turbine's prerogative to change their business model slightly if they want to. Originally I was shocked, like I said in my article. I was shocked, and then I was kind of sad, because to me it's not a free-to-play game if you get to a point where you have to pay to really do much of anything. And I mean, I know technically people can argue that you can you're going to be able to go into the new region. You're going to be able to kill things. There's no, there's no barbed wire fence there keeping you out. But to me, that's not really playing the game. To me, the game is doing the quests and everything that's going to come along with this expansion. And if you can't play the game, then it's for free. Then it's not a free-to-play game. It's changed. So I don't personally think they can market it as free-to-play anymore. But I know they will.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it is at 95, or whatever it'll end up being. So there's a large part of the game that's for free still. I
agree, and I kind of liken it though to when WoW earlier said they were going to go free to play, and then you found out it was really only the first 20 levels that were free, and it was really just a free trial. Well, now you've just got Lord of the Rings is kind of like an 85 level free trial game. And then you have to start paying for the epic story. So I know everybody kind of defines free-to-play differently, so I know that there's a lot of people that aren't going to agree with me, and there's going to be people that also say, well, geez, it hasn't been free-to-play for a long time, so why are you surprised? I think I'm surprised because, for one thing, as long as I've been playing, the epic has been totally free for everybody. And so I didn't know any different, and I really kind of thought that was just the way they were going to do things. There was kind of an expectation built up that that's the way that they were going to handle it. People in the forums made a good point that was the way they actually got people to buy levels, because they could go try it out, or not buy levels, but buy zones, because they could go into the zone, try it out, do some quests, see what it was like, and then they could actually kind of upsell them from there. Now you've got this wall basically where you say, okay, you get to 85, now you got to pay. However, having said all that, I really am okay with this, and I think that I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to get the expansion. I want the full experience, and it really doesn't bother me as much now as it did 2 days ago. So I do think that there was a lot of issues with the way that this was communicated, and I think a lot of people agree with me on that too. I think this could have been done a lot better if we had some hint that it was coming before the actual announcement for the expansion.
Okay. And Ethros.
Yeah, what I was talking about earlier about the thing changing my decision, this was it, really. It's not necessarily the fact that they're changing it. It's for me, it's kind of like the statted armor gear they had decided to sell before. It's not what they're doing, it's the way they're presenting it. I mean, first of all, they announced this in just an offhand comment by Sapiens, saying what you will pay for and what you will get free.
I mean, it wasn't even an offhand comment. It was him being asked and kind of like totally missing the question twice, and then finally saying, "Yeah, that's what happened."
Exactly. This something like this. It should be. They should come out and say it right at the start of when they announced the expansion, and they should, like, I think Maid of Lions, I think it was, posted a pretty good explanation of their reasoning for it. I think had they come out and said something like that at the beginning of the expansion announcement, clearly laying out why they're changing it, because they did previously state that it would always be free. Always is obviously a tough term to keep up to, but in the end, if they had done it like that, I probably would be okay with it, I think, in the end. But it's the way they've gone about it, and they've done things like this before, where it seems like they want to see if anyone will notice or if they'll kick up a fuss about it. And then when they do, they come out and explain it. Or they try and pull back a bit and say, okay, we'll do that, like apparel dummies, for instance. They'll come back and pull back a little and then keep going forward on something else. It's just the way they're communicating, it really bothers me, and that's really what influenced my decision to not pre-order this time.
Okay, Pineleaf.
All right, first off, I don't know if anyone actually posted anything that the original statement I've heard Turbine where it said that it would always be free.
No, I haven't seen that either, Pineleaf, and I actually looked for that. The closest thing that we have is a comment Sapiens made 2 years ago on the forums where he said something about us going back on our promise to make the epic free wasn't going to happen or something like that.
Yeah, but
I never did see the original. Yeah, I never saw the original promise there, and I don't know that there really was one, but there definitely was an expectation by the players community.
Yes, but then I've seen a lot of things where I have seen sometimes where people are posting about Turbine has made such and such a promise when, based on anything I've seen in any records, Turbine said the very opposite in the original
Well,
post that they were traced to. So it's always
there
Right,
are
but this is
prominent.
different.
Yeah.
They really did. At least I think I remember, and it's weird that we all think we remember but can't find it. But I think I remember hearing them promise that, but I could be wrong.
yeah. Well, what
I
the
mean,
problems?
even if they didn't, it wouldn't be the first time they've made a claim like this. Like, for example, the idea was when people always come up with legendary items will level with you, which is a vague term at best because, as we know, you have to keep making them every time, so it's kind of misleading.
Well, at the
Obviously,
time of the expansion, they did level with us, but
yeah, they don't
anyway.
level afterwards. And obviously, convenience not advantage when they first started out with the store. That kind of stopped being that a while ago. And other such things like that. It just isn't the first time they've made a claim like that and then later gone back on it. Which, again, that's not the main thing that bothers me about it.
Okay. And finally, do you have anything else?
There is one other thing, and that one of the things that Made of Lions was noting was how when they were first making the Epic Free, he was under the assumption at first that the newer content, the newer Epic, the most recent Epic, would not be free. There would only be the earlier Epic would be free, which is why he wrote the Isengard Epic as if it was going to be paid for.
Yeah, very, very, very originally they did say that they wrote it in a way that it sounded like it was only going to be up to 65 or whatever free to play was at the time, that the Epic would be free. And I think Turbine did think about charging for the Epic at 75.
Right. And what I suspect is going to happen is that when we come to the point, which would be about a year from now, when they drop the price of Helm's Deep, like the previous expansion always drops in price just before they make the announcement for the next expansion. I think when they reach that point, I suspect that the Epic for this is going to become free. That they're going to find some way of doing it. Though they'll have to find some means of doing it that doesn't make the big battles free. That's the big conflict there is, can they do that without making big battles free? I originally thought when I first heard the announcement of big battles, because I knew that this was going to be a conflict of some sort, what I thought they might find a way to do is find a way to getting it done single player only and giving you access to single player as long as you had the quest. But I have a feeling that Turbine was afraid that someone's going to exploit that if they did it that way.
Well, I mean, when obviously, I think there was actually something I mentioned in one of the articles before they announced it. It says wondering how they were gonna get around the whole Epic being free thing with the big battles or Epic battles or whatever it is you want to call it. And really, I think I expected them to do something similar to skirmishes, kind of where the Epic you have a one-off instance where you do it, or maybe you just unlock the first one. I think that was actually one of the options they Made Alliance came up with, but this is the option I didn't think they were going to go with, and perhaps I should have thought about that, but it just was complete blindsided for me.
Well, they did not do a one-off with the skirmishes, though.
Yeah, I know, but I think having a permanent unlock I don't think that was ever going to happen.
Right, that was the problem. Is I have a feeling that Turbine could never figure out a way to do a one-off on it or something like that. We'll have to see. As I said, I have a feeling they are going to investigate somehow making the Epic free a year from now. At least that the previous year's Epic free a year from now, but we won't know that until a year from now, whether that prediction's true.
One thing that they could do, I would think, is give all players who have purchased it a permanent token, and then give players through the Epic Story a one-time token.
That's a possible. That's something like what they would do with DDO.
Right, and so if they can do it there, why not here? So that's
Well, with DDO, it's a once daily token.
right, but you can limit it to however much you want, you would think. You don't have to issue it every day, I
No,
wouldn't think.
the problem is with a one ever token is if someone fails the instance, what do you do?
That's true, but you could have it, if you fail it, auto-bestow another token, and the ones that already have the permanent token don't have to worry about it because they already have the token.
I'm sure someone will find a way to exploit that.
Probably.
Well, I mean, I think a similar way they did things with the Epic in Moria, where we have to go into those instances. What they did is create a special Epic only story version of it, where it's pretty much the same, except obviously there's no major rewards for completing it.
Right. So Leonor, what do you think on all this?
I'm fine with it. I think that people that play the game a lot and go through the Epic and love the game end up buying the areas and the expansions anyway as they go, or at least later on they will grind turbine points for a lot of them. I'm fine with it. If we're talking about just leveling up at 85 to 95, the Epic Quest is not going to level you all the way to 95. If you like the story, if there are people that just play for the story, they're going to be the ones that are hit on this, and they'll probably end up getting the expansion anyway. But I'm fine with it. It's so high level. It's all the way up to 85. There's so much free content before that.
All right, and Mist.
Yeah, I was surprised when I heard that we had to pay for the expansion. I'm one of the players that does like to follow the storyline all the way through. So now if I don't buy it, then I'm going to miss out on that storyline. I think it should be free, but then, yeah, that's just me. And since the Epic's always free, I also was one of the people that had the expectation that this one would be free as well. So I'm disappointed that it's not, but I will end up buying it because I want the story to continue and I want it to flow. So, yeah. But
Right.
hopefully, before it all comes out, Turbine will take everyone's comments on board and hopefully do something. Hopefully.
Yeah, I actually bought it before the announcement of this happened, and it did sour the my purchase a little bit, but at the same time, it is all the way to 95 or 90 or whatever it is when they introduce big battles to make you pay for it. And so that definitely changes things for me because it's, you still have all the story from whatever to 85, from the beginning to 85. And so even though it is ending off in the middle of a story, you still get 85 levels, which is several years of content for the way I play. So, I mean, honestly, I think it's an okay thing. I think the way that they went about it was terrible. If they would have come out with it just right away, I would have been 100% on board, no issue at all. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Let's face it, the PR department of Turbine isn't exactly the snappiest.
Yeah, that's one way of saying it.
Let us move on to other LOTRO news. The first item is that Sapiens mentioned that the /follow bug is slated to be fixed in 11.4. This is the bug which causes /follow and spur on not to work properly on war steeds.
Yeah, and so I'm glad that they're fixing that because that's actually a pretty big issue. And pretty funny, too.
Right. So now, of course, any predictions for when 11.4 comes out? Is next week sounds like a good time for that, but
Yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be pretty soon.
So
we
there was something else in that post that caught my attention anyway, and that was that the guy had asked about two bugs. He'd asked about the slash follow, and he'd asked about the performance issues on mounted combat. And I thought Sapience's answer to the mounted combat performance issue was interesting because he basically said, well, we fixed all that in 11.3. When I thought originally they had said they were going to do some of it in 11.3 and the rest in Helm's Deep.
They said that they were going to try fixes with 11.3, and if there were still issues, then it would be till Helm's Deep, probably till they got it fixed, I believe is what they said.
Right. What they did is they fixed it as far as they knew they could in 11.3, but that they were not 100% satisfied, so they added additional diagnostics in 11.3 that they were going to use to monitor it. So it's probably going to be Helm's Deep before they could take in all the stuff from all those monitoring diagnostics and come up with where they still need to fix things and actually implement anything better.
That's what I thought they were going to do, but his answer sounded like they had considered it fixed.
Yeah, but at that
with-
point it was a long day, and so...
I mean, the thing with lag is that you can never be 100% sure that this is fixed and no one will have lag on it because it's incredibly individual. The sources could be from multiple different ones. So
Right.
I think in the end you can't really say this has been fixed, so you won't have lag.
Yeah. If we could go back to the teaser trailer real quick.
The teaser trailer. Yes, I did
Right.
skip
One
that.
thing I would like to do is applaud Turbine for finally having a good teaser trailer.
Yeah.
It was good.
This was a launch level release or a teaser trailer, which surprised me. Normally, this is the kind of trailer that's saved for launch. So, I'm assuming the launch trailer will probably have a lot more of the big battles being shown and stuff like that. But they actually showed quite a lot of things. One thing I mentioned before was the fact that the Rohan epic story concludes, which means we're probably not going to get any more Rohan zones in the future, and definitely not any more expansions or anything like that, I would assume.
Yeah, and no offense intended to any Turbine employees who may be watching, but I am glad they didn't do a live action trailer this time around.
Right, it wasn't...
The last one was a bit...
Even if you liked the live action trailer, it's still nice that they're not devoting resources to it, and they actually showed us a ton of gameplay instead. Like, for example, they showed us thousands of orcs there. I don't think that's the final build because they're pretty spread out. Plus, they didn't even render in one corner of the map, and so I'm assuming that they're going to be, reforming them and making them look a lot nicer later on. But it's still just incredible to see that, even them spread out like little dots. And so I'm excited to see what comes from it. It was really exciting. Another thing we saw, which, spoiler alert for the next couple seconds, it was Gandalf transforming and confronting Theoden. So that was pretty interesting.
I think the thing I liked most about the trailer was the music, actually.
Right.
I'm not sure. I actually asked this to LOTRO on Twitter, but I didn't get a response. Whether it was this music was made by their in-house person who did various music for the Turbine, or if they had someone taken from a third party, various people who made them and licensed them off. Because I was wondering, I actually really liked the music from it, which is quite a change from any LOTRO music that isn't Chance Thomas.
Right. Yeah.
I'm hoping it is in-house, because a lot of that music would be good to have in-game.
Yeah, I also really liked the voiceover by Theoden, the actor that plays Theoden. That was really well done. Really got me pumped for the expansion, that's for sure.
It was almost as good as your voice work, Andang.
Alright, so I can now stop sending money to Brax, so that's good to know.
Very well.
You owe me money anyway.
I do owe you 50 gold, that's right.
Very well, yes. Now, in addition, there were the articles on the battle roles in Helm's Deep, which we touched upon last time, I believe.
Yeah, they went a little bit more in depth into each of the roles of the battle at Helm's Deep. And I believe that was the MMORPG article.
Yeah.
And so they went a little bit deeper into the roles and gave some more small details. So if you want to go there and read about those, it's worthwhile. I think I am more excited about the different class roles. It sounds like an interesting system, for sure.
Right, and then there's also an article from GameSpot on the Graves of the Kings.
Yes, and anyone who reads the books knows that the graves right outside of Meduseld and the city on the hill there will know that the graves play a very important part in the storyline, especially as the story continues. It's definitely a large part of the core story there of that Tolkien wrote.
Definitely a good display of the kind of landscape we can expect to come with Rohan, which obviously their screenshots, they also released a lot of those as well, but it does give a good example of the kind of in-game lore design that they've always been really good at.
Right, yeah, I don't see anyone that actually, including GameSpot themselves, I don't see anyone that actually marketed about the fact that GameSpot has 70 images of Helm's Deep on their website, which is incredible. I'm surprised Turbine even allowed them to release that many. I was very surprised to see that. They're too spoilery. It's more just the sheer number of them that makes it a little bit of a spoiler. So if you don't want to see the entire zone there, then you probably don't want to see those images.
Yeah, if you flip through him fast enough, does it look like he's running through the zone?
There are almost that many, yeah.
Yeah, quite a number of images here. And let's see, we also have 10-Ton Hammer on their article.
Yeah, and one thing with this article that was really interesting was the detail that was given to the zone, and some of the descriptions that were there. And I believe that was with the GameStop article as well. And it just gives some more details about different things that are coming with the expansion.
Yeah, the couple of things I singled out on this article was one of them about the tech they're going to use to animate the actual orcs at Helm's Deep, because I think they explicitly state that they won't be using the kind of tech they used for Wolf's Cleft back in Dunland, where they kind of paint the mobs there and they're kind of pixely and weird looking from afar, but there are a lot of them. I mean, when I saw it in Dunland, I thought, okay, it's a good first attempt, but it's not really going to do for Helm's Deep. Apparently, they're going to have a way that the orcs won't be there won't be actual NPC orcs, which means you can kill them and anything, but you will be able to interact with them in some way.
Right, and so that's definitely exciting to be able to interact with the orcs in the battle. It's good that they're using tricks, because otherwise our hard drives and computers would kill us. Otherwise, so it's good that they're using the system in that way. I'm glad that they're thinking about it smartly and thinking about their audience and what their audience's computers have and trying to keep the specs right and all that stuff. So hats off to Turbine. Hopefully they can pull it off in a way that looks good on really, really bad computers and looks good on the best of the best. So.
Well, in a little bit more than 2 months, we will find out.
That's right, yeah.
Now, there have been 2 class dev diaries that were issued this week for the captain and the champion. Does anyone have any comments on the... Let's do the captain first, since alphabetical order.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone else does, but I did have a captain at level 75. I did play him a lot in the Rise of Rohan beta, so it's a fair amount of experience. Obviously, as with the burglar dev diary, there isn't a whole lot of focus on it. It's kind of gives a basic description of each line and kind of a few examples of what happens if you dip a little into each one, see what you can get to put into as an addition to other lines. For me personally, I just love that they're actually giving more buffs to pets, because the captain pets are really terrible at the moment.
Yes, that is a huge thing, because basically the pets, if you're going to do any rating or anything like that, they basically tell some players will tell you that you can't join us if you're going to have your pet out captain.
Yeah, it's banners. It's all
You have to have your banners.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Which is why they won't let me in a raid, because my banner is so far behind
Right.
in level that actually I believe my captain finally bought a decent banner, a level 80 banner for one of the three. I don't have three of them, so if they're willing to, I think it's the Banner of War. So I think I have a decent enough Banner of War that if they're willing to live with the Banner of War, it'll be fine. If they say no, you have to have Banner of Hope, then
Yeah.
they're not gonna like me then.
So,
A good point. Sorry.
Yeah, are you done, Etheros? Because I've
Oh, I
got
was
captain
just-
too.
I was just gonna make that point that I think a good point they made in the dev diary is that the captain, I think, out of all the classes, was going to be the hardest to get to work into these trait trees, because it kind of has 4 roles in the sense that one will always be buffing and helping its allies in various ways.
Yeah, so a couple of things I noticed. I've got an 85 captain, and I enjoy playing him a lot. So one of the changes was today when captains buff you, they basically point at you and say, "There's your buff," and then they point at the next guy and say, "There's your buff," and then they keep doing that. I think they've got 3 buffs. They've got a power buff, a crit buff, and a parry buff. And they're going to get rid of those. They said they're going to actually make those. I believe it was skill based. So as you use skills in your trees, those buffs will appear on your fellows, I think is what they said.
Oh, I got the impression that it was going to be based on your trait tree that you selected.
Okay. So they're going to do it they're going to do it differently now. They said it was too boring the way you did it before, and as a captain, it was kind of like herding cats trying to get everybody to stand still so you could actually get the buff.
Yeah.
The other thing that I noticed that jumped out at me really, and I think a couple other people in the forum said it too, after I posted it on our site,
work
was
to
that
do the buff guy.
they didn't mention shields at all. In fact, they went out of their way to mention in the tanking line that you could use a 2-handed weapon to do your tanking, and I thought it was really curious that they didn't say anything about being able to use a one-handed and a shield. I don't know if that means anything, but it sure seemed to me like they were trying to tell us something without really telling us something.
Yeah, it seems like that. But I mean, it's still early on. You know, they have so many changes that they're going to be making to these trees. I'm sure that you know, it's too early to talk about everything. So.
Yeah.
Yes, there is that. All right, now what about the champion?
Yeah, so the main thing that they're doing with each of the roles is they're making the Berserker, which is the red line, the DPS line, they're making that be a lot more heavily focused on getting the DPS going and getting a lot more onto your single enemy. The Deadly Storm, they're giving a lot more survivability and a lot more ability to do damage. So basically, the more enemies that you have on you, the more powerful you'll be to actually deal with the number of enemies you have on you. Which is a really smart way to design the class, I think, because a lot of the problem with the Deadly Storm was you'd almost always gather, at least I would almost always gather too much aggro in a raiding situation, and so I'd have like 10 mobs on me, but I wasn't in a tanking stance, so I couldn't really deal with them. I'd just have to use, so you kind of had to monitor how many AoEs you used in that stance to make sure that you didn't get aggro too much. And so I'm glad that they're doing this to make it be almost like a AoE kind of tanking stance. But still not, the long-lasting tanking, just short-term. And then in the tanking stance, it's, they're just basically making it be a little bit more tanky, is what it sounds like. Not too many changes going on there. The main thing that came from this dev diary, which it's the longest one we've got on any of the classes, thanks to me, was that the hybridization was talked about pretty heavily in this dev diary, and it's good to know that they're really giving thought, at least with the champion, to how you're going to be hybridizing and how you're going to be using your skills in each of the trees. And that excites me because it means that you're not just being limited to one tree. You really are going to have like a tree and a half or something like that. And so that was really good news to come out of this dev diary, I felt like.
Yeah. I don't actually play a champion heavily myself. I think I had one once a while ago, but I have fought them fairly often in the Eton Wars, so I can really only look at them from that perspective. Looking at what they decided, especially as far as the red line is concerned, they seem to be making it a lot more focused on DPS than it is currently, where they can, right now, is where they can DPS while popping bubbles every few seconds and healing, and I think too survivable, I think, is the thing where they can tank while built for DPS. Obviously, I biased heavily in that, but that sounds like a good thing to me, that they'd be changing that.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think, personally, that champions are a little bit too powerful if you build it right on live. And so it's a good thing that they're redesigning them to make them be powerful at one thing, but not powerful at DPS, tanking, and AoE. Because on live, if you set it up right, you can give yourself enough tanking ability just with your virtues, and then you can give yourself enough DPS and AoE by investing into those two trait lines on live.
All right. Now the next bit of news is not technically from Turbine, but just want to give you an update of what's happening in Russia, and that is they just released update 10 in Russia. There's a couple of updates behind us.
God rest those creep souls.
Yes, update 10 does kind of break some things for the creeps, so.
Yeah.
Yes, so therefore, I'm sure all the creeps in Russia that have been following Turbine's forums are crying now. Yeah.
Trying to hold it
I
off
would
as
be.
long as possible, yeah.
Very well. The next item, actually, I'm going to switch the next two items. So let's go into the store sales first, then we'll go back to what was going to be the next item. The store sales for this week. The free sample this week is plus 100% infamy and renown. PVMP4 is the code for that. I know. Whoop-de-doo.
It's good that they have player versus monster player as the code. It's not just like JKLT Batman emblem. You know, they actually had real stuff this time. So
Where's that on the keyboard?
I don't know. I don't think I've seen that on any...
You don't have the right kind of keyboard, apparently.
Oh,
I don't have the right font installed.
The Logitech Batman keyboard.
Yes. And everything that's on sale this week is 20% off. There's 20% off of shared storage, vault upgrades, inventory bags, and currency cap.
Yes,
You,
and this is all great stuff to go with expansions, so I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I was going to say, do any of you think it's a bit coincidental that with the same expansion announcement pre-orders, it's giving out a bunch of cosmetics, that they have a sale on vault upgrades and shared storage?
It's planned. It's planned, definitely.
Well, actually, what I'm used up mainly was just my wardrobe space. That's the only thing that really got consumed by this, because once I opened up everything, it was... most of the stuff was consumed.
Right. Yeah, I wish that they added another cosmetic slot on sale, and because I bought a cosmetic slot this week at full price. It was sad.
All right. And we also have the following steeds that are currently available. The Steed of Greenwood, which is the Steed of the Month, member of the Steed of the Month Club this month. And we also have the Steed of Night, the Steed of Daggerlad, and the set of the Norcrofts.
Braxwolf, we can't have Steed of the Month Club 2 titles in a row, okay?
No, I know.
Now, you notice here that we have Leonor here this week, and one of the reasons he is here is because
Uh-oh.
LOTRO Reporter has just recorded its 200th episode. So let's give a cheer to Leonor.
Yay!
Slash
Golf
cheer.
clap.
Yes, that's all right. Well, how does it feel like meeting this milestone?
I'm pretty new to the podcast thing in the first place, and I've been listening to that show for quite a while, and I was really honored to get onto the show and be a permanent host. When I was doing the show notes for episode 199, I kind of stopped. I looked at that number, and I'm like, holy cow, I don't really think I know very many podcasts that go to this kind of number.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
4 years is a long time to be podcasting.
I know it was coming, but when I typed in 199, I was like, oh, the 200's coming. Wow, it's amazing. I think Chris on that show would have a better explanation of how he feels, of the show going to 200. Like I said, I've been on the show. Let's see, it's been about 6 months, 8 months. I think it's been about 8 months. It feels great to be on that show and have it going that long. And I am a loss for words.
Yeah. I mean, it's really amazing that they've gone on to 200. I mean, it's always amazing if a podcast makes it even past level 50. That 1 year milestone is a huge thing, and so to make it 4 times as long as that to 4 years is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so my hat's off to Chris definitely for sticking with the show that entire time. That is a lot of hours and work that he had to dedicate.
Yes.
And definitely hats off to him. That's a huge thing.
Yeah, Andang and I were in the chat room for that episode, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, I enjoy going. I don't usually go live because I like to listen to it on my way to work, and I want to be surprised. But we went for that episode, and it was a lot of fun. And I don't see it in the feed yet, so looks like episode 200 will be coming out probably very shortly for LOTRO Reporter on iTunes.
Yep.
All right, anybody else wants to add anything concerning LOTRO Reporter?
Just keep doing what you're doing, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
Except that.
Maybe not everything you do.
All right. Then we'll go on to the LOTRO Players news. And
can I just say real quick that I am really glad that it took over an hour to go through LOTRO news this week. Turbine needs to make that happen every week. Give us news. We love it. It's fun to report. Honestly, though, spread it out over just one day, okay? We were scrambling with posts that day.
Yeah, Thursday was tough.
It was, yeah. We had 4 people at least writing. Well, no, 5 because Draculetta was as well. We had 5 people writing posts about that, plus Mist was writing posts about the Fellowship Walk, and so it was just very chaotic organizing all that stuff. And so, but I'm not going to complain because that was a ton of awesome news. So thank you, Turbine, for finally communicating a lot of news before pre-orders, or during pre-orders, I guess.
Just spread it out a bit more next time.
Yes.
Right. Now, the first item is something that I don't know too much about this item. I saw the article on it on LOTRO Players, but frankly, is there actually anything to substantiate this item?
Well, there is the fact that, I mean, there's nothing to substantiate it, obviously, but the Moderate Apparel is a fairly good source at being accurate with leaks. And so there's a chance that this could be this level 50 item to auto level you to level 50 could be possible. The image looks right. It has the same style that Turbine has with their in-game items. That doesn't mean it's
I
true,
think
but
think-
it's possible.
I think what really seals it for me as being legit is the plus 10 quest slots item there that you can see.
Yes,
And as you
does
know,
make
they've
it a lot
just
more likely.
recently released that as a pre-order bonus. So I
Mhm.
think if that's there, then there's a pretty strong chance that the rest of it is there too. Now,
But
whether
there-
it's going to be there as those other ones are there just for beta, or they'll be released in as a store purchase, is a different question.
Right. In past betas, they did have a very different system for doing odd levels, so I doubt it's that unless they decide to change it for this expansion. I don't
Right.
know.
I
But,
have a feeling.
But one thing that I do think is that, Turbine could change their mind at any moment. And so even if this actually was an item at some point, doesn't mean that it's an item still. And doesn't mean that Turbine's still wanting to move forward with it. So.
Yeah, here we thought this was going to be the controversial story of the week.
I think
Yeah.
it kind of got overshadowed by the pre-order announcements and everything.
Yeah,
Right.
my guess on it was obviously proven wrong this week because I thought maybe it was something that they would include in one of the premium expansion bundles, a way to level one of your alts up to be able to play the expansion more quickly. And I still think that's a possibility in the future. But yeah,
Well,
that was proven wrong.
My main thing is that what they could be doing, because there's two things that they could do. One thing is that new players have no idea how to navigate the store. Even old players have no idea how to navigate the store. So it could be you get to level 30 or so before you even notice on your main character. And so they could be gearing this a lot more towards alts, and I'm hoping that that's the case. Because I don't want. I mean, I guess I don't technically mind, but there's so much good content from 1 to 50 that I don't want people to skip it right away.
Yeah. Actually, looking at the list of items here, actually two of them are legit because are definitely confirmed because one of them is called the Legendary Item Upgrade Bundle. That sounds like the
true.
packet that you will get if you buy that Legendary
Yeah, it
add-on.
does.
Right.
It does.
Yeah. So that does solidify it a little bit more, but like we said, there's so much up in the air that it's not necessarily going to come. But I'd be surprised if we don't see it. So it'll
I
be
don't know.
interesting.
They've got to. I understand their thinking. They've got to do something to be able to get people to their new content quicker because they can't expect somebody to just jump in the game, get them all excited about Helm's Deep, and then somebody looks and goes, "I got to get to level 90, whatever, to get to the new area." Of course, they can jump in and play Helm's Deep right away, so they did give them that. But it seems like
Right.
this would be. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a problem with somebody, I guess, getting to the new content quicker. But like I said in my post, I would like those of us who actually went through all of it to get maybe a little something for that too. Maybe something just to distinguish that we didn't jump ahead.
I think at minimum you should have to get to that level at least once on a character beforehand. So you just can't create an account, use your money, and then you jump straight up to level 50 without having any idea of how the game works.
Yeah, that'd be
I
a good
mean,
way to do it.
that would be nice, but at the same time, I'd be really, really upset about this if this was to say 85. But it's only to level 50, and so that makes it be not that bad for me. And with the way that they're changing the system, it's so the tree system's more used in other MMOs, so it could be easier to get into the game at that point. So auto leveling right off the bat to level 50 isn't that much different than grinding for a day to get to level 50 or however quick some people get there.
I
Some
think
people
the
get
main
there pretty
thing
quick.
the main thing that's going to affect you there is your virtues because you won't have any, presumably.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but isn't there, according to that view, wasn't there one to get to level 50 and then wasn't there one to get all the extra stuff with level 50?
Well, one
Yeah, I'm
is
not sure whether that includes virtues. Of course, you can buy those in the store anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have to find out what it all does if and when they decide to make an official announcement.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I see people that have been playing the game for a while using this item the most. There already is a leveling item in the store. It levels you all the way up to level 5 and takes you out of the beginning area, and it costs 100 points. I see that as not something I'm going to buy if I'm brand new in a game. I want to go through the beginning, but people that are replaying it, making different alts, they're going to be the ones that are buying that really quick.
Alcoholics. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, the thing about that is that during the first 5, you don't have all that much in the way of deeds and jumping up to level 5. If you bought yourself up to level 50, you're not going to be completing any deeds. They
Mhm.
might give you the virtues on it or something like that under some circumstances, but you're still not going to complete the deeds. If you don't complete the deeds, that means that you're not going to get the turbine points for completing those deeds. So a new player is probably better off leveling to 50 the hard way.
Mhm.
Yeah, one would assume if the people who are going to buy this have most of the content already and they have nothing else to spend their money on except this.
Right. So let's go on to our next item, which is an unexpected vidcast episode 10, where we saw the first ousting at the Big Burrow.
Yeah, and do you guys remember who it was?
I remember, and I thought it was certainly not who I expected to be kicked out.
It was the elf lady, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I was trying not to say it on the air.
But go watch it. It's
Pine Leaf
really
is
good.
very politically correct, Braxwolf. Come on.
Sorry, I spoiled it.
But yeah, one thing that Pashbro Proudfeet said was that the bad guy always has to stay to the end in this type of show. So we'll probably see him, making it a lot further. Hopefully the character we've hinted at a couple times will stay through because that's just hilarious. And I definitely want to see that character continue on. And then the Hobbits would be good to continue on, I think. That's who I'd like to see.
All right. Now, we have an article from Zinger about fun places to loot Himbar.
Yes, and this one actually came out today, and he titled it "Fun Places, Fun Loot," but I think it's more a vacation guide kind of thing to Himbar, to be honest. And it's really really funny. He talks about like tickling Carghoul and all sorts of pretty funny stuff. And he has like a caption, Himbar, the vacationing spot for Snoopy and Anguish and Garian teens who enjoy the sport of trolling coefficient and participating in
Coercing
and worshipping in the Witch King's.
You've been taking too many math
worship.
classes recently, I think.
Apparently. So yes, I thought that article was really funny. And he even shows the place where they're the NPC fishing, which is one of the funny places anyway in LOTRO, and he expanded upon that. So I hope we see more of these kind of articles because it was really funny. So definitely a creative idea.
Very well. And our next item is we continued our travel. We created a new travel section, and the first things going in there are, of course, the newest addition to our travel diagrams. In this case, it was the Lone Lands, which, as you could guess from the name for the Lone Lands, is a rather sparse travel diagram.
Yeah, it's a really boring diagram. There's 2 stables.
There are 2 stables plus a quest-based stable, yes.
Yeah, so the location for those now, and somebody actually asked me in the comments, is there somewhere I can go to look at all of these at one time? We put it under the Academy section. Under New Player Guides, there is now a travel section. So if you click on that, it'll take you to all of the travel diagrams in one spot.
Yep.
I think you should probably make the most of these boring ones because when you get to Moria, that place is a mess.
I know. I'm afraid of Moria.
Yes, you may have to divide Moria. All right. And Mist has sent us an invitation to a party.
Yeah, well, I'm just a big party girl.
Yes.
Yeah, she created a really, really good graphic talking about, which is now on the side of the site, talking about Frodo's birthday party. So if you want to talk about that a little bit more, Mist.
Okay, so Frodo's birthday party is the party on the 22nd of September, which we're using to kick off this year's fellowship walk with. And the idea of it is that we're going to celebrate Frodo's birthday, obviously.
Which
And
is
we're
the
going
22nd, for those of you that don't know, in case you were confused on that. Not a lot of people know Frodo's birthday, but not everyone. So
That's true. And 33 is the new 21, so he's going to be 33 again.
especially in the
And-
films.
And we're going to be down at the party tree at Hobbiton in the Shire, and we will be having lots of interesting stuff like a trivia competition and a fashion parade, maybe. But the big news is that Animal House will be playing that day for us. They have some songs ready, and the party is actually going to be kicked off by the Shades playing Walk the Path, which is our official 2013 Fellowship Walk song, which got launched, I think, last week or the week before.
Yep.
So it's going to be a good time. We're hoping that Gandalf is also going to show up and have a fireworks display. However, if he can't make it, I do believe he's sending in another old guy, so maybe he'll show up.
Yes, yes.
Hopefully not Saruman.
No, not Saruman. So,
Yeah, there's some fireworks.
Yes.
yeah.
Now
So-
this.
Yeah, go on, Pine Leaf.
No, you go on.
No, because now I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, sorry about this. This leads us into our posts that in one way or the other relate to the Fellowship Walk. First, we have Lily Kate, who posted a walkthrough. That was the Lily Case, right? Walkthrough Eriador. Let's see.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
And that's the screenshots right from Bag End through to Rivendell.
Right. So it's a movie of screenshots. So we have quite a long trip to get all the way to Rivendell. And give you an idea of how long this walk is going to take.
Yes, but there's some interesting stuff to see along the way. So, time will fly, particularly if you drink lots of ale.
And we'll actually be adding in some surprises, we'll say, along the way. So definitely be sure to join us live during our walk events, because they're going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. And you also posted an FAQ. Any of them you wish to highlight now?
All of them?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go through some of them. So first of all, donations don't open until the 22nd of September with the kickoff party for Frodo's birthday. And donations are going to be through the Child's Play widget, which will be added really close to the 22nd on the upper right-hand corner of the blog. Once it's there, you won't be able to miss it. It'll be on the right side of the homepage and on the other pages as well. And then there's also you can pay through PayPal. And then all donations go to Child's Play directly straight to their PayPal account through our widget. So we don't get any of the money at all. It all goes straight to Child's Play.
Yes, and that works for just if you're donating or with the actual auctions.
Yep.
We do not see a cent in either case. It just goes straight to Child's Play, which is good.
Indeed.
Very well. Now you also announced the competitions, of which I see 4 of them.
Yes, there are 4. There will be another post up a couple of days before the walk. It's ready to go about the treasure hunt. But the 4 that are live at the moment are the video competition, where you get to film yourself dying, which I think is going to be really funny. The screenshot competition, the poetry competition, and also the cosmetics competition, which has 3 categories in it, best, worst, and funniest. And just on those competitions, we do have a couple of guest judges. Sprydra from LOTRO Players has kindly said that she will guest judge on the screenshot competition, and Golden Star is going to be the guest judge on the cosmetic competition.
Okay.
So looking forward to having them.
I have one question. How could
Yes.
Spytra, a founding member of LOTRO Players, be a guest judge?
Celebrity
Well,
judges.
Well, that's simple. She hasn't really done anything for the walk. There's a lot of people on LOTRO Players that aren't involved with the walk. So, and because she's come on board as a judge, I think that sort of signifies that she can be a guest.
Yep,
So,
I'm surprised you judge a walk. Trust a walk to judge, really. I'm not really sure they have the fashion sense for it.
Well, she's
Well-
also a burglar.
There also is the bad stuff and all that stuff. So anyway, but the she does do the screenshots every day, so
That's
works.
And that was the main reason I thought of Sprydra, because she is our screenshot queen on LOTRO Players. I knew there was a reason why I wanted to ask her. So yeah, it just made sense that we asked Sprydra to help with the screenshots. So she's one of our guest judges, and we're so happy that both Sprydra and Golden Star agreed to come on board with that. So.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows, the contests are actually already open, and
Yes.
you can go to our show notes here, or you can find the post individually under the Fellowship Walk category. And
Sorry, I just as we were going live, I posted just a general post on LOTRO Players as well, with the links to each of the competitions. So
okay, awesome. And when do they end? What's the close date on them?
the close time is the 12th of October. I think we made it midnight.
Yeah, and so that's just so that we have plenty of time to judge them before the Fellowship Walk ends on the 24th.
Yes.
So
yes. And
that's why
just letting everyone know that after the winners have been contacted, we would be placing the entries up on the site. So if you don't want any of your entries posted on our site, in your email, just let us know so that we don't do that. So it's up to you guys whether or not you want everyone to see your entries, but we are looking at posting all entries on the site after the winners are announced.
Right. And I guess that's everything on the walk, unless you have anything else to add, Mystery.
Well, I'm busy doing up the auction list at the moment and the auction FAQs, and they will be going up hopefully this week, since the walk starts next week. So yeah, look out for that. Apart from that, if there's anyone who has some time and can give a music lesson, or what else, anything actually, doing a raid run, that sort of stuff that we can post as an auction item, can you please contact us at fellowshipwalk@gmail.com and let us know what you'd like to donate. Kelly's donated a music lesson. I believe the Shades and this has yet to be totally confirmed, but the Shades will be donating a concert as well. So yeah, if you have something that you can donate or some time and what have you, please let us know and we'll put you up on our auction list. I think that's all. Oh, and if you'd like to be a model in a fashion parade, also let us know, because at the moment we don't have many, and we really want a fashion parade.
Leonor, that's got your name all over it, man.
Oh man, the fashion show that we did was crazy. I didn't have a mic. I didn't have a mic. We had everybody all in one raid, so I had to type to everybody. Okay, you go. Okay, now you go. No, you get back here. Okay, you go. It's like, oh.
Well, just on the fashion parade, Carrie from MMO Reporter is going to be our MC.
Yes.
So that's really good. But yeah, we just need the models. It's going to be pretty boring if there's only 2 models.
Oh, well. We'll see what we can arrange on that.
So yeah, but it's going to be fun. It should be fun, and maybe not everything that we're hoping for will help or come into fruition this year, just due to time constraints and what have you. But you know, there's always next year too. So, and next year will be even better if it doesn't happen this year.
Very well. Our
All right,
next
and
item.
next week we will actually be broadcasting live with a chat room, which is really exciting. We do broadcast every week, but in the past we didn't share it, just because we wanted to get used to the show, make sure that it actually worked, and we were going to continue it, and then just get used to our dynamics and that kind of thing before we included a chat room. And so now, if you go to LOTROplayers.com, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a new live tab. You click on that, and there will be a chat room embedded, along with the live video feed, all right there for you guys to view us live every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Server Time.
So does that mean now or next week, hopefully, when you don't hear me talking on the show and you ask me a question and there's all this silence, it's because I'm actually typing in the chat room?
That means if I'm the only one talking on the show, everyone knows why.
Well, it looks like that, yes, we did a test run today, so therefore we were able to see whether or not it actually was posted.
Right, we got the video up today. Now all we have to do is make sure the chat room can embed and all that stuff, which we're working with Middle Earth Network talking about that, because I know CSTM did it in the past, so we should be good there.
Very well. Now, a new feature we have is Brax's LP Pick of the Week. So, Brax, could you please announce that?
Yeah, so what I'm going to be doing is highlighting a post from LOTRO players every week that comes from the creative community within LOTRO. We wanted to work one of those in every week because we talk a lot about the news, but we don't have time to talk about every single one of the creative posts that goes on. So it could be a fan fiction, it could be a video. And we wanted to make sure everybody knew that stuff was out there too, because there's some really good stuff out there, and we don't want to leave anybody out. So this week I was going to highlight the Stand at Amansul, which was posted on the 9th, I believe, by Kali Starshine. And Kali does some really, really cool stuff. The only way I can actually audioly describe it is it's like a graphic novel. I mean, she takes a screenshot and then she narrates it with some really good text, and then she takes another screenshot and she does this. I mean, the screenshots are amazing. I don't know how she comes away with all these shots that go so well with her story. It really does look like a comic book when you read it. Yeah. And this one particularly, it basically takes you through the skirmish, Stand at Amansul, with her character in character, and she puts a story around it. So I just thought that was pretty amazing, and I think everybody should go check that out on LOTRO Players.
Yeah, it's really amazing the number of high quality screenshots that she has. It's really amazing, and so
Yeah.
I wonder if
What's-
she's able to just take all those right away, or if she takes even more screenshots, and those are only the good ones because.
What
It's,
I find amazing is that the only way she could have possibly have done this was to do the entire skirmish with her UI off.
Yes, that's impressive.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
That's impressive because there is not a single UI in this entire thing. And when you're saying she's in the middle of combat on a lot of those things, which means now I've taken screenshots, some trying to get no UIs for a lot of skirmishes, so I know it's not a trivial thing.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you, Kaylee, for your pick for this week. So let's go into donations. We don't have any new donations this week, but if you would like a mention for a donation and to help LOTRO players, then go to the upper right-hand corner of the LOTRO players homepage and press the donate button. For $5, you'll get a mention on LOTRO players, on the LOTRO players podcast of your choice, while for $10 you get a mention on all 6 current podcasts, which includes LOTRO Player News, Fellowship of the Creeds, Through the Palantir, An Unexpected Vidcast, LOTRO Academy, and Lily Kate's Small LOTRO Adventures.
Yeah, we have a lot of podcasts.
We have a few of them, yes.
I'll come over and make a podcast. I'll call it Techno Gandalf.
We might take you up on that, Leonor.
The funky side of Middle-earth.
Yes. Now, final thoughts here. Ending. You wanted to talk about the official song?
Yeah, last week we had so much news that we did forget to mention the Fellowship Walk 2013 official song, which is an amazing job by Acacia and written in part by Mystery. And just go listen to it. The more I listen to it, the more I love the song. It's just great every single time. And I missed as well have just had it on repeat for entire days, just listening to the song over and over again. It's really good.
So you're saying that LOTRO Reporter picked this up, but we didn't?
Yes. Yes, that's true. That's true.
Yes, and remember that we will probably have a lot more information about the Fellowship Walk during the next week, since the Fellowship Walk starts next week with the party on Sunday and the actual walk beginning on Monday. So we have a large amount of information to share with you so that we can all get ready and started. And that's all we have for today.
Actually, I do want to go ahead and announce something. The Fellowship Walk will have an auction of the One Ring replica made by Weta. And I'm personally super excited about this. I can't wait to see people get excited for this as well and bid to help support Child's Play. A big thanks to Weta for their donations. They've given a lot of things, and a big thanks to all the people who have donated items, time, and in-game stuff as well for LOTRO players. It's really blown us away how much involvement people have gotten. So thank you guys so much, and we can't wait to be starting off the Fellowship Walk real soon.
Yes, well, when the bidding comes in and finishes up on that little item, we'll probably be all the way to Mordor.
We hope the ring goes to Mordor.
Yes, we hope the ring goes to Mordor. Yes.
Yeah, where do you
Depends
feel
who
it?
wins the auction, doesn't it?
Yeah, what if Boromir
If
bids on it?
Sauron wins it, we're all dead.
And
Yeah.
if Sapiens wins it, then we're really in trouble.
Yes.
Isengard bids 5.
Mordor
That's
bids
perfect.
10, yeah.
Well,
Well,
Mordor's the only one who could beat Isengard on such an auction.
well, just onward in New Zealand, they have donated a lot of stuff. Well, pretty much. But they're also going to be giving us a special discount code. So if you want to buy something from their site during the length of the walk, you'll actually get a special discount off that item,
Right, it
which is
doesn't.
also very good.
Right, it doesn't start till the 22nd. So if you're wanting to buy something from Weta, hold off till then, and be sure to use the code for once that starts.
Yes, and they're the ones who have donated our prize for our treasure hunt, which you'll find out more
Yes.
about this week.
Mm-hmm. So look out for
yeah.
that.
Mist is being mysterious.
You would expect something else.
No, probably not.
Nah.
And that concludes our episode for tonight. So until next time, remember, this is Pine Leaf Needles. Skirmish responsibly.
Have
Heal
fun.
Pine Leaf a lot. Heal him a lot. Make sure he's still alive.
Yeah.
Don't let my spider die.
You need a head of security, Pine Leaf.
He almost needs 21 wardens.
Thank you. Good night.